Good morning. Good morning. You know, there is a special holiday coming up and in a couple days. Oh, Christmas is coming up too, but there's another holiday coming up in just a couple days. No. But because of this holiday, I want to tell you the story of the very first Santa Claus. Saint Nicholas. Yeah, the very first Santa Claus, jolly old Saint Nicholas. And I have a picture of Saint Nicholas because he was a real person and he was alive about 200 years after Jesus. And this is a painting of Saint Nicholas. And everyone on this can see it up there on the screen too. This is a painting of Saint Nicholas. Now, this is when he's older, but when Saint Nicholas before Saint Nicholas was born, his parents, they didn't have children when they were young, and they didn't have children when they were in the Middle Ages, and when they got old, they finally had their first child, and it was a surprise. I don't know exactly, maybe in their 50s? I got another picture here, yeah. There's another picture of Saint Nicholas. Yeah, he's old in that picture, isn't he? So when Saint Nicholas was a young man, maybe a teenager or in his 20s, his parents got sick, and they died of a disease, which was really sad.
That's not surprising.
But, yeah, they were already old.
I have a question. How come he was old while his parents were?
No, this is just a picture later in life.
Okay, so
It's not a picture when he was young.
his beard looks very interesting.
Well,
Very interesting.
so when his parents died, though, they left him a lot of money. He was the richest person in the country. He had the most money of anyone else. And he started wondering, what am I going to do with this money? And he thought about how Jesus had taught us to share. And so he would go out every night and he would disguise himself and he would take food and clothing and give money to people who were in need. He'd sneak around town and he'd share his gifts with other people. And he didn't want anyone to know what he was doing. But one time he found out about a family where a dad had 3 daughters, and the dad owed a whole lot of money to some people. And the people were threatening to take his 3 daughters away from them and make them slaves. And so St. Nicholas wanted to help these people. And so one night, he snuck by to their house and left them a bag of gold. And the next night, he snuck by their house again, and he threw a bag of gold through their window. And when he threw the bag of gold through their window, it landed by the fireplace on their stockings. Stockings are just big socks. And the socks were laying by the fireplace because they'd been out walking all day and the socks had gotten wet. And so they're lying by the fireplace to dry. And so when he threw the bag of gold through the window, it landed on the stockings by the fireplace. And then he came a third night. And this night, the dad of the 3 girls was up watching. And when St. Nicholas came, the dad saw who it was, and he said to St. Nicholas, "Thank you, thank you." And Nicholas said, "Please don't tell anyone. I want this to be a secret." But you know what the dad did? He went and told everyone. Yeah. And that's how the very first St. Nicholas came about. And when St. Nick, he's from a part of the world where people had darker skin.
Okay, but why
Yeah.
is he white here and every other picture?
Well, some people drew him darker and some people drew him a little lighter, and that's okay.
So this is him, that's the father, and these are 3 daughters.
Well, after St. Nicholas died, the legend of what he did spread everywhere, and the story of throwing things into stockings and bringing things sneaking things into the house as gifts to remind people of how much they are loved became something that people took on after him. And so after him, someone else started to be St. Nicholas. And then after that person went on, someone else became St. Nicholas. And someone kept taking on the role until today we have people who are being Santa Claus, right?
This dude has an afro. And isn't
No.
that I know, it's just a painting of
It's actually to show, it's actually, when you see a halo like that, it's to show that it's someone who we think is as a saint. When there's a halo like this, that's to be a sign that we think of them as a saint. Yeah, it's a halo.
Yeah, because where's the first picture you showed us?
This one here.
See?
Yeah. And so people have been taking on the job of Santa Claus ever since to do what St. Nicholas first did.
Those are different people, right?
Well,
Or are they the same person?
well, St. Nicholas isn't around anymore, but people are still doing his job, aren't they? Sharing gifts with those in need and reminding people of the joy of Christmas.
I know how Santa Claus is still giving out presents.
How?
Because Mary gave him eternal life because he was a little drummer boy.
You think the little drummer boy took up the job of St. Nick?
No, he was Santa Claus.
Yeah?
Because he was the drummer boy and he came and he didn't have a gift. So he played his drums for Jesus.
Can we say a prayer? Say, God, thank you for people like St. Nicholas who share their wealth and your love with everyone in need. Amen. Thank you guys for coming up.